So, rumor has it that I'm giving away copies of FIFA 19 to a few lucky winners this week if you predict the right score in one of my top matchups for this weekend in previews and predictions. But what matchup will it be? That is the question, because the rumor is true, everyone. I am hooking people up, but should I go with a game with an obvious winner? Like Schalke versus Bayern Munich, which is the current worst versus the always best in the Bundesliga, because even though Schalke are coming off their best performance of this young season in their 1-1 draw at home against Porto in the Champions League, they still only drew. So let's be honest, it's gonna come down to how many goals Bayern wants to win by, and I'll say they'll win by 2. But maybe you prefer to see your obvious winners from Spain, where it looks like Real Madrid and Barcelona, who are both coming off of commanding performances midweek, will look to replicate that success as Madrid hosts Espanyol, who actually aren't doing too bad this season. They're currently in 6th, but come on, Madrid looks like they're just starting to really find their new post-Ronaldo rhythm, as Isco is starting to score goals now. Their new number 7 Mariano is dropping bombs from outside the box as their new super sub. Asensio is looking tidy. Bale is still banging them in every single game. So yeah, Espanyol has no chance. That's what I'm trying to say. While Barcelona hosts Girona, who actually have looked great the last 2 match days in particular, getting a big 1-0 win away from home against Villarreal, and then beating Celta Vigo 3-2 at home to currently sit in 3rd in the table, which is probably the highest they'll be all season. But listen, have you seen Barcelona play recently? They look super sharp right now. Messi is motivated, Dembele is looking settled and comfortable, Suarez, Coutinho, Rakitic all playing at a super high level. I mean, I haven't seen much of a World Cup hangover with this team, so if they don't win by at least 2 or 3 goals, I'm gonna be pretty disappointed. So let's maybe pick a game where things aren't so obvious, like maybe Manchester United versus Wolverhampton, because recent history suggests the United seem to like to drop points to inferior opponents at Old Trafford. However, on the back of 3 consecutive wins in all competitions for the new super positive Jose Mourinho and his men, I get the sense that this run of wins will continue for a little while, so sorry Wolves, this won't be your week. So then how about Arsenal versus Everton? Though, like United, Arsenal are on a nice little run as well, beating West Ham, Cardiff, Newcastle, and some random ass team from Ukraine, which is what happens when you play Aubameyang and Lacazette together, Unai Emery. That said, they haven't gone up against a side during this winning streak like Everton, who are halfway decent, and who play with a lot more confidence when Richarlison is in the team. And now that he's back from his headbutting suspension, I like Everton especially. And I know this may sound a little weird, since they got beat by West Ham at home last weekend, because I just think that that loss helps their manager Marco Silva continue to figure out what his best 11 might be. Also, the very mobile Richarlison versus the not so mobile Socrates, and I know I'm not saying that right, and Mustafi is a great matchup for Everton to exploit. But Arsenal's 4 wins in a row is 4 wins in a row, and momentum and confidence are real things that do matter, and I think they have both at the moment. So I think this is an obvious win for Arsenal, and did I just jinx them? I hope I just jinxed you, Arsenal supporters. You guys can suck it. That's what you get for beating my Newcastle last week. So maybe I should go with one of the crazy derbies in one of the smaller leagues, like PSV Eindhoven versus Ajax, who are the 2 clubs that have won more Eredivisie titles than any other club in Holland, because, fun fact, PSV have won 24 league trophies, including 3 out of the last 4, while Ajax have won 33, but none since 2014. So put that stat in your pipe and smoke it. Plus, they're the only 2 remaining undefeated teams left in the league this season, but PSV are coming off getting embarrassed away from home in the Champions League by Barcelona 4-0. It was a thorough ass-kicking, while Ajax are coming off a comfortable 3-0 win at home over AEK Athens in the same competition. So, momentum should be in Ajax's favor. However, Ajax haven't beaten or even scored a goal against PSV in Eindhoven in 2 years. Plus, I think PSV is going to be super focused so that they rebound from their midweek trouncing. So I put my money on them getting a close win here. Or maybe we should do the biggest derby in the world, the Super Classico between Boca Juniors and River Plate, which, if you ever want to see a game outside of the country you currently live in, make sure it's this one at Boca Stadium La Bombonera, because I've been to one at La Bombonera before, and it made me a Boca supporter ever since. I fell in love immediately. It was love at first sight. Also, Boca have won the Argentine League the last 2 seasons, while River haven't won the league since 2014. So we'll see if River can pick it up this season, because they have been bad in the league the last few years. But I doubt it, because dale bo, dale bo, dale bo, dale bo, dale bo, dale bo. Dalibo, Dalibo. Or maybe we should do Fenerbahce versus Besiktas in Turkey instead, because I really want to go to one of these Istanbul derbies at some point in my life because they look intense, but I'm not sure if it's this one or Besiktas Galatasaray or Galatasaray versus Fenerbahce, or which one is the Eternal Derby or the Intercontinental Derby? I think it's Gala versus Fener. And if that's the one I want to go to because it sounds awesome. Anyway, where was I? Oh yes, picking the matchup where I have you predict the right score so I can give away some copies of FIFA 19, which means I think I've decided that we gotta pick an unpredictable one like Olympique Lyon versus Olympique Marseille, because in the Battle of Olympiques, I have no idea what's gonna happen. Though Lyon are coming off the most unpredictable win of the Champions League so far by beating Manchester City at the Etihad, so let's just imagine the swagger that comes from doing that. I mean, it has to last a few games, so I got Lyon in this one. Which means let's go with Sampdoria versus Inter Milan, because Sampdoria had to come from behind to draw at home against Fiorentina midweek, while Inter had that miraculous comeback against Spurs in the Champions League. Though, is it really all that miraculous if you come back to score 2 goals in the last 7 or 8 minutes to beat Spurs in a game, since we all expect that to happen anyway? I don't think it is. So similar to Lyon, I think Inter rides that momentum to a few wins before they get humbled by someone they should beat in a few weeks' time. Which means this is it. The game that I'm going with for all of us to predict the right score of is West Ham versus Chelsea. And yes, I know what you're thinking. This is an obvious win for Chelsea. They're perfect through 5 games, and the last 2 times they've won their first 6 games of the season in Premier League history, they went on to win the league. So a win here would be a great omen for them. But the Blues played West Ham twice in the league last season, and I'm not sure why I'm even mentioning that because they play every team in the league twice. Well, they lost one of them and drew the other, and that was with West Ham having a worse team than they have now. Plus, the Hammers finally had something to feel good about this week in training, which was their first league win of the season against Everton at Goodison Park last weekend, so that should give them a little pep in their step, not Pep Guardiola. You guys know what I'm trying to say. So I don't know. I think they're going to be up for it, which makes this game super unpredictable for me. So I'm going to go with a relatively safe 1-1 scoreline. And yes, I know that's a boring ass prediction, but I want to win one of my own copies of FIFA 19, so I'm trying to be smart about this by taking everything into consideration, like Chelsea having to fly to Greece and back for the Europa League a few days before this game, so they're going to be tired, while West Ham is well rested. I'm just saying. All right, that is enough from me, because I want to know what you guys think the score will be for that game. So let me know in the comments below, and if you get it right, you'll be entered to win one of 3 copies that I'm giving away of FIFA 19 on the console of your choice. So make sure you subscribe, because you got to be a subscriber. I got to give love to the people that show me love consistently. And then finally for me, please have a good or bad weekend, everyone. Later.